In the Comprehensive Expenditure Report 2012-2014, published in December last year, I set out the various elements of the Government's medium-term expenditure framework. One key element was the introduction of ministerial expenditure ceilings, which are three-year allocations of current expenditure to each minister. The Ministers and Secretaries Amendment Bill 2012, which was published on the 28th of September, will, when enacted, provide the legislative change necessary to put these ceilings on a statutory basis. The Government took account of a wide range of often competing considerations and policy priorities to decide on the balance between priorities in setting these parameters. The CER, that's the Comprehensive Expenditure Report, set out the main results of this process with the individual papers produced by departments, and they give a detailed analysis underpinning the final ceilings set. These papers are available on my department's website. The ceilings published in the CER form the basis which the detailed 2013 expenditure allocations are being decided by the Government. The precise composition of the 2013 budgetary consolidation will be set out in the budgetary statements on the 5th of December. In this context, the aggregate level of expenditure are split by reference to ministerial vote, and the detailed disbursement of the resources within their allocation is a matter for each minister in accordance with the overall agreed government policy. It is my intention to undertake a comprehensive expenditure review process, another CER, every 3 years. However, I don't intend that the role of evaluation should come to a halt in the years between these large-scale formal expenditure reviews. Rather, the new public spending code introduced by my department will ensure that ongoing evaluation becomes an integral part of expenditure policy. The role of evaluation was further enhanced by the introduction earlier this year of the Irish Government Economic and Evaluation Service. The work of the service will support each department in evaluating policy and expenditure options. I draw the Deputy's attention to the whole-of-year budgeting process that is currently underway. I talked to you at the committee in relation to that. All Dáil Select Committees have had the opportunity to participate in the annual estimates process in an ex-ante fashion with departments. The process introduces an important new dimension of accountability, which will enhance the role and the policy relevance of the Select Committees of the Oireachtas.
Deputy Donnelly.
Thanks for the detailed response, Minister. I guess I appreciate that you're trying to move in the right direction, but I participated in the Finance Committee in yours, and I think you probably agree, certainly I would state, that it was useless. It was completely useless. I understand we're trying to move in the right direction, but there was no accountability of why the CER had moved for your own department up by 88 million. The data we were looking at was not rigorous. My understanding is that the same frustrations were heard from the other departments as well. So I do appreciate you trying to move in the right direction. But, Minister, in February you said we now have a completely open and much more modern budgetary process that allows the Dáil to be fully involved in expenditure policy. And I would put it to you, and this is at the heart of my question, that is absolutely not the reality. I think Deputy MacDonald asked a very fundamental question, which was, are you going to do an equality impact assessment of the budget? I have asked before, is there going to be a regulatory impact assessment? Is there going to be a gender impact assessment? Is there going to be a poverty impact assessment?
Thank you,
and in fairness, you didn't answer the question. So, as you're no doubt aware, Minister, the OECD rates our budgetary process as the second worst in the developed world. And in particular, they point out that Parliament gets no time to interrogate a budget before it's presented as a fait accompli by the government. You will come in here in 2 weeks' time, you will say what you've got to say, Minister Noonan will say what he's got to say, and that's it. We score 0 out of 10, and the OECD also scores us 0 out of 10 in terms of the quality of information given to us to interrogate the budget. So, again, Minister, I do appreciate you're trying to modernise an archaic, useless system. I would ask you, specific to the budget coming up, is there a regulatory impact analysis? Is there a gender impact assessment? Is there a poverty impact assessment? And if so, can we have them before the budget, or when are we going to see them? Thank you.
I find, in the discussion, the deputies to be process focused. Regulatory impact assessments and so on. If you understand how a budget is constructed, we've published ceilings of expenditure. And we have, through the Comprehensive Expenditure Review, set out policy options. We have to select for the policy options to achieve the ceilings. Now, that's a process that doesn't require regulatory impact or anything else in terms of the participation of members of the Oireachtas. But there is a marked reluctance of members of the Oireachtas to actually drill down, as I had hoped, from the beginning of this year, and say, there's the sum of money we have, there are the policy options, these are the ones that I recommend. I understood the Deputy did promise his own pre-budget submission, and I'll undertake to examine that carefully, but we're 2 weeks away from the budget now, so you need to publish it fairly sharpish if it's going to have an impact on it. But I would invite, this year, Lascan is the first year we had this, and I agree with you, it wasn't very successful. I hope at the beginning of next year, committees can set out in any shape or form they like the data they require. But I don't want people to be absorbed with process. Have you looked at equality proofing? All of that is important and will be done. But at the end of the day, you have to get off the fence and say, these are the policy options we recommend to achieve these difficult objectives financially that we have to achieve.
We do, Minister. I can assure you I'm not obsessed with policy, with process. I am obsessed with getting the right information. Right now, there is a very large national protest of people with intellectual and physical disabilities and their carers. They are terrified about what you may decide, or Minister Riley may decide to do, if this government is going to take another €54 million off them. They're absolutely terrified. But they have no idea whether or not that's going to happen, because there is no draft budget to interrogate. Now, in other countries, 3 months before budget day, Parliament and citizens are given a draft budget. They are given a technical appendix that says, this is what we propose, this is the impact it's going to have on people with disabilities, this is the impact it's going to have on people living in poverty, this is the impact it's going to have on children who can't get enough food. Now, you, the Parliament, and you, the civic society, come back and let's engage in that. That doesn't happen. I'm not interested in ticking boxes. I'm interested in this Parliament being able to fulfil its constitutional role, which is to consider the estimates, which we cannot do. Thank you.